12 mistakes Americans make when visiting Australia. Visiting Australia is an exciting adventure for many Americans, yet it can also be a bit overwhelming due to the cultural differences. To ensure your trip down under goes as smoothly as possible, here are 12 common mistakes that Americans make when visiting Australia. From failing to convert currency properly to overlooking important safety tips, this article will help you avoid making these easy-to-avoid blunders and instead enjoy the beautiful country of Australia with minimal stress. Whether you're planning on taking a short weekend getaway or an extended vacation, learning from others' experiences can save time and money. So read on to learn more about how not to mess up your Australian holiday. 12. Underestimating the Australian sun. The Australian sun can be an unforgiving force, and far too often tourists underestimate its power. With temperatures regularly exceeding 30 degrees Celsius, it is important to take precautions when spending time outdoors in Australia. Sunscreen must always be applied generously and frequently throughout the day, as well as wearing a hat or other protective clothing if possible. It's also important to stay hydrated by drinking plenty of water and avoiding alcohol during hot days. Additionally, scheduling outdoor activities for early morning or late afternoon can help avoid the peak heat of midday. If these precautions are not taken seriously, one could find themselves suffering from dehydration or even heat stroke due to underestimating the powerful Australian sun. 11. Riding a bicycle without a helmet. Riding a bicycle without a helmet in Australia is illegal and can result in hefty fines. In some states, the fine for riding without a helmet can be as high as $200. This applies to both adults and children who are riding bicycles on public roads or bike paths. The law also applies to those using motorized scooters. All riders must wear an approved safety helmet when traveling on any public road or path in Australia. Wearing helmets helps protect cyclists from head injuries, which may be serious and even fatal if not prevented with protective measures such as wearing a helmet. 10. Don't compare everything to your country. When traveling to Australia, Americans should be aware that comparing everything to their home country may not always be the right approach. While Australians and Americans share many of the same values and cultural norms, there are distinct differences between the two countries that can easily be overlooked if one attempts to compare them directly. For example, while both countries have a strong economy and highly developed infrastructure, they operate differently in terms of taxation systems, healthcare policies, education standards, and so on. Additionally, Australians tend to prefer more laid-back lifestyles than those found in America. This can lead visitors from the US into making assumptions about what is acceptable behavior or communication style, which could cause offense if not properly understood. Instead of relying on comparisons with American culture when visiting Australia, it is best to approach the country with an open mind and try to learn about its unique customs, beliefs, and values. 9. Don't ask for Starbucks. Visiting Australia is a great experience, but you should not ask for Starbucks while there. Australian coffee culture is unique and highly respected, so it would be best to try the local offerings instead of an international chain. Local cafes offer espresso-based drinks made with fresh ingredients that are sure to provide an unforgettable cup of coffee. 8. Not trying classic Australian foods. Visiting Australia is a great opportunity to try some classic foods. From Vegemite and pavlova to Australian meat pies, there's something for everyone. Don't forget to sample these iconic dishes while you're here. They'll give you an insight into the unique culture of this amazing country. Plus, who knows when you'll get another chance? So don't miss out on this delicious opportunity. 7. Only visiting the tourist hotspots. There is much more to Australia than just the popular tourist hotspots. While visiting these places can be enjoyable, they often lack a certain level of authenticity and don't always provide an accurate representation of what Australian life is really like. Exploring lesser-known spots such as local beaches, small towns or national parks can give you a better insight into the culture and history of this beautiful country. You may even discover hidden gems that are not on any map or in any guidebook, unique experiences that will make your trip truly memorable. 6. Try the local restaurants. Visiting Australia is an amazing experience, but one thing that many Americans overlook is the local restaurants. While there are some great American-style restaurants in Australia, it would be a mistake to not try out the local eateries. Not only do these places offer unique and delicious dishes that you can't get anywhere else, but they also provide an opportunity for travellers to learn more about Australian culture through food. From grilled kangaroo steak to Vegemite on toast, Australians have perfected their own style of cooking and flavours over time. Whether you're looking for something traditional or something experimental, there will always be something new and exciting waiting at a local restaurant in Australia. So don't miss out. 5. Use your manners. Australians value politeness and good manners, so it is important to remember the basics like saying please and thank you when interacting with people. It is also important to address people in a respectful manner, as Australians take offence if someone is too casual or familiar with them. Additionally, visitors should make sure that they are aware of cultural norms, such as not using profanity in public places or showing respect for local customs. Finally, visitors should avoid talking about politics or religion without being invited into the conversation, as these topics can be sensitive to many Australians. By remembering these basic rules of etiquette while visiting Australia, Americans can ensure that their visit will be enjoyable and successful. 4. Discussing politics. Discussing politics can sometimes be a mistake for Americans visiting Australia, as the two countries have very different political systems. Australians may not understand why certain policies are popular in America and vice versa. Additionally, many of the issues that are important to Americans might not be relevant in Australia, or could even cause offence due to cultural differences. For example, while gun rights are an important issue in America, it is almost unheard of for an Australian citizen to own one outside of a few exceptions. Conversations about immigration policy should also be avoided, given how sensitive this topic is both domestically and internationally. Ultimately, it's best for American visitors to avoid discussing politics with Australians unless they know their audience well and can ensure that any conversation will remain civil and respectful. 3. Tipping. Tipping can be considered offensive in Australia for Americans. In the United States, tipping is a common practice and is expected when dining out or using services such as taxis. However, in Australia, service staff wages are higher than those of the US, which means that tips are not necessary nor expected. Tipping can be seen as an insult to Australian service staff because it implies they are underpaid and need extra money on top of their salary. Furthermore, some Australians may view tipping as a sign that Americans think they don't understand proper payment practices or have superior economic power over them. For this reason, it is best for American visitors to Australia to avoid giving tips unless explicitly asked by the service worker themselves or if there has been exceptional service. 2. Hiking alone. Hiking alone in Australia can be a mistake for Americans. It is important to remember that Australia has some of the world's most dangerous animals, including venomous snakes and spiders, as well as wild boars and dingoes. Additionally, the terrain can be quite unpredictable and treacherous due to its rugged nature. It is therefore essential for hikers to have knowledge of their surroundings before embarking on any hike alone in order to stay safe. In addition, it is also recommended that hikers bring along safety equipment such as a first aid kit or communication device should something go wrong while out in the wilderness. Finally, it is wise to always inform friends and family when heading out into remote areas so someone knows where you are should an emergency arise while away. 1. Using the term mate. Using the term mate in Australia can be a mistake for Americans, as it is seen as overly familiar and inappropriate. In the US, mate may connote friendship or camaraderie, while in Australia it is more likely to be used among friends or family members. Australians usually reserve the term for people they know well and trust, so using it with strangers may come across as impolite or inappropriate. Furthermore, Australians generally prefer to use titles when addressing each other, such as Mr., Mrs., Doctor, etc. It's best for Americans travelling to Australia not to use mate unless they are sure of how their Australian hosts will receive it. From cultural faux pas to not understanding the local laws, there are many mistakes that an American can make in Australia. Knowing these potential pitfalls and taking the necessary precautions can help ensure a successful trip down under. With some research and preparation, Americans can enjoy their stay in Australia without making any costly errors along the way. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, and turn on the notification bell.